Why Bitcoin will reach $1 million by 2030. Okay, so let's get right into it, guys. We need to talk about one very important metric that you could use to predict Bitcoin's future price pretty easily. Now, this doesn't really predict it well over, I would say, the very short term, like days and weeks, but over months, quarters, and years, you can use this metric that's widely available and it's free to basically figure out where Bitcoin's price is going, and that is the global M2 money supply. The global M2 money supply shows the amount of cash, checking account and savings deposits, money market accounts, and smaller deposits under $100,000 across the world. Okay, so basically, what ends up happening is central bankers and governments make cash available. They literally issue. Well, now things are done digitally, but in the past they used to print money. So now a lot of the money is actually issued digitally, and this is the thing that a lot of central banks do to kind of. They also call it quantitative easing. Okay, so over the long run, obviously, as more and more money is needed to pay interest on government currencies, when you guys put your money in a checking or savings account, a high yield savings account, your account needs to be paid interest. So over time, bankers are forced to issue more money. And what this does is it helps Bitcoin's price go up. So, just like Michael Saylor always said, if Bitcoin's not going to zero, it's going to $1 million. And I think this rings true. So it's really important to understand that as long as the global M2 money supply is going up, Bitcoin will continue to soak up all of that toxic capital that the central banks and the governments are flooding, the global supply with. And this is something that a lot of people don't talk about because this is kind of a macroeconomic term. Okay, M2 money supply, you don't hear it talked a lot about on YouTube and other places. It goes over most people's heads, but this is kind of the game that the central banks play on all of us, and this is one of the reasons why we have so much inflation. Okay, as they continue to print more and more and more money, this kind of floods our economy with all of these newly created dollars, and this is why goods and services go up. But this is also one of the reasons why Bitcoin goes up. So I feel like Bitcoin is like that Pac-Man soaking up all of these toxic dollars that the banks are pushing onto us, and dangling the carrot and making us work long hours for low pay. And this is one of the problems that everyone's having. So what is the solution? Well, one of the solutions is literally just buying the asset that benefits the most from this. Now, gold benefits as well, but we're going to talk about this in another video that sometimes the Bitcoin to gold ratio can become out of whack, and that's usually a signal to sell gold and buy Bitcoin. But right now, it's really important to understand that by 2030, Bitcoin should add another digit. So, I always say this: Bitcoin hit $1, then it hit $10, then it hit $100, then it hit $1,000. Okay, it already hit 100,000. Okay, 1 million is next. And when Bitcoin hits $1 million, it's going to be considered prime digital real estate. Just like if you guys were to buy a mansion in Miami or LA, or an expensive penthouse condo in Manhattan, you've got to pay millions of dollars for that property. And the same thing's going to happen with Bitcoin. Okay, by 2030, Donald Trump will have stepped down as president. We'll have a new president in the United States, and we're going to be experiencing a lot more inflation in the future. So, think of it like this: if you have zero point 0.1 Bitcoin and Bitcoin's $1 million, you have $100,000. If you have 0.01 Bitcoin, you've got 10,000 G's just sitting there as a nice little emergency fund. If you guys can figure out a way to get to 1 Bitcoin, or for some of you watching this, you already have 1 Bitcoin, you could potentially have $1 million worth of purchasing power by 2030 if you can figure out a way to get to 1 Bitcoin. This will unbelievably make your life so much easier. And really, guys, money isn't so much about what you can buy. It's the freedom it gives you. It's the freedom to do what you want, when you want, and who you want to do it with. It's the freedom to travel. It's the freedom to work a job you love instead of a job that pays the most. And there's obviously lots of other assets out there you can buy, like real estate, gold. You can invest in the stock market or things like that. But Bitcoin's one of those few assets that just gives you that freedom, and you can take it with you easily anywhere you want, without permission from any third party. So it makes it a really rare asset. So as long as it's not going to zero, it's going to a million. This could take some time, but time will pass. And if Bitcoin hits $1 million, you can bet that almost everybody will want to own it. That means we're going to be seeing a lot more "I want to get paid in Bitcoin." We're going to see a lot more goods and services sold in Bitcoin, and the U.S. dollar as a global reserve currency will kind of just fade away, and more people will say, "Well, I don't necessarily want dollars; I want Bitcoin." So, like I said, I don't expect the central bankers to decrease the global into money supply. That would kind of destroy the whole Ponzi U.S. currency scheme that's been working for so long. But people are fed up. It's not working for everyone anymore. The middle class has been eroded. Poor people are struggling. There's a rise in homelessness, joblessness. AI is coming to replace a lot of jobs. It just seems like now the rich elite are unable to kind of force people to constantly work jobs they don't like for a currency that's losing its value, doesn't purchase much. So Bitcoin seems to be the solution. It seems to be the exit route that everybody is running to. So probably would be a good idea to buy some of it before it goes to $1 million. It kind of just becomes out of reach for the average Joe. So that's all I got until next time, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give it a like and subscribe. Let me know what you think. Will Bitcoin reach $1 million by 2030? Be really interested to hear what you guys have to think. That's all I got until next time, guys. Take care.